Sometimes even the most perfect of things can be broken down into million pieces, and it can turn into your worst phase of life. Something similar happened to Rebecca Goedecke. She served as a nurse, taking care of her cute little daughter and her loving husband, but little did she know that it would not last long. Rebecca Goedecke's life took a U-turn when she came across dark and dirty secrets of her husband. It might have been an end of the world for many, and as a woman, you will question everything that happened with you. If you dream of an ideal life, then what are the things you will consider? Dream job, lovely family, great spouse, and happiness, isn't it? Rebecca had it all. She had a nurse's job in Florida, which was like a dream to her. Her husband was the most loving man on earth, and she had a beautiful daughter, which meant the world to her. However, Rebecca was unaware of the storm which was coming into her life. The man she loved so much was not who he seemed. Rebecca recalls her life and how she loved each part. She tells that she was enjoying it with her 3-year-old daughter. She had a decent place to live in the suburbs of Florida. Rebecca had a life that was picture perfect for her. She couldn't ask for more. Everything felt superior to her, the neighborhood, the job, the family, everything. But it was an evanescent phase of happiness. One day when Rebecca was returning to her home, she found that all the stuff from her home was out in the open. It surprised her as she had always paid her bills and rent on time, which was not making any sense to her. With all her belongings outside, she was now not even allowed in the house, which was now confusing her even more. She was feeling the embarrassment and humiliation she was never prepared for. Rebecca was seeing her life falling apart in front of her. Everything she saw so perfect was now getting destroyed, and it was all because of her husband, who kept dirty secrets from her. The perfect life of which Rebecca was so proud of was now all over as the most trusted human in her life had kept her in the dark. Rebecca was helpless in that situation and was feeling the heat. However, one thing she was not understanding was why she was thrown out of her house even after she had paid her bills. She never missed on rent and took pride in that, so how could this happen? As Rebecca was trying to become a responsible person, she found that her husband was not doing the same. Her landlord informed her that about 3 months of rent was due. This made Rebecca giddy. She thought it was all done, but it wasn't, and the money did not reach its intended location. Being a working mom, Rebecca did not have the time to ponder over the work of her husband. But now, when she thought it over, she was seeing every piece of the puzzle falling into its place. Her husband was showing some peculiar behavior for the past few days. He was going out all alone. He had a change in habits, and all of this seemed strange to Rebecca, but she never raised questions. But now, when she thought of it, she was finding it all adding up. One point that raised the most doubt was his strange behavior with his car, and it was something that helped Rebecca reach the truth. As Rebecca went for searching for answers in her husband's car, she was shocked by the sight of what was inside it. She found that there were many empty bottles of medicines all over the car. It was the same car that her husband used to take her daughter with him. This was only the start of the web of lies. Her husband was a drug addict, and this was proved, but there was something more that was incoming Rebecca's path. Rebecca's husband was only good at one thing, that is hiding the truth from his wife. As Rebecca was searching his car for any other stuff, she found that her husband was not only a drug addict, but he was also a liar. Her husband kept the mails with bills hidden from her in the trunk of his car. Rebecca's husband was using her money for rent on his drugs, and she learned this the hard way. But this was not the end of the lies, there were some more. The series of lies Rebecca's husband had told her crashed all of her dreams with a bang. Rebecca was deeply hurt by this. Not only she suffered from a financial loss, but she also suffered a loss of faith in the man she loved and intended to spend the rest of her life with. Rebecca blamed herself for not reading the peculiar behavior of her husband before. However, it was sure that she didn't marry the man who was uncovered now. He is a different overall. This could be devastating for a woman who has dedicated her life to the betterment of her family. Later, Rebecca was revealed that her husband had somehow stolen her identity and was cashing out credit cards in her name to fulfill his addiction. This was going on all this time, right under her nose, and she was not aware of this disaster. This was something opposite to what Rebecca had dreamt about. She was working hard to pay her bills and improve her credits, whereas her husband piled up debt in her name, destroying every chance of a good credit score. Rebecca's husband not only lied about the bills and their payments but lied about everything. The man she has married was not the one she thought. He was just a liar who was lying to Rebecca to keep his addiction keep going. Everything from his education, his pleasant life, his job, and even the fact that he claimed to be in the Marine Corps, was all a big lie. The web of lies that guy has weaved had caught Rebecca deep into it. But that man was a scumbag, as he dared to abandon Rebecca and his daughter when confronted about the issue. He might have guessed that he was not worthy of her. What followed when the scumbag left Rebecca and her 3-year-old daughter were some gloomy days. Everything was lost, and they had no place to go. They had only one option, that was going into a motel, as her credit was already destroyed by her idiot husband. So, she was compelled to make that decision to regain little respect for herself. This was undoubtedly the worst phase of life for Rebecca and her daughter, all thanks to her husband. He had single-handedly destroyed their lives. He left them with absolutely nothing, no money, no house, and no credit, making them wander into rows of Walmart to get basic amenities. Having a storm of emotions inside her, Rebecca was clueless about her life. But what hurt her the most was that she was cheated and destroyed by the man she thought to spend her rest of eternity. Rebecca had no other choice but to move back to Tennessee with her parents. She knew that Florida now had nothing for her, and she needs to rebuild her life for the sake of her daughter. Leaving Florida was a setback to Rebecca, as she loved the place, but fate had made her do so. Now she was heartbroken and broke, but she had faith in herself and wished to improve her life. However, the ambiance of Tennessee was not very welcoming, with its snow and cold. What happened could not be changed, and Rebecca knew it. Therefore, she decided to fight the odds and create an excellent future for her daughter. She hadn't yet given up, and she had the hope to do the best in her life. Although everything was lost, she was facing all of this with confidence and never giving up attitude. Rebecca knew that she had hit rock bottom and nothing worse could happen from there. She started to look at things positively and tried to bring that confidence and upbeat attitude in her life through every means. She had a daughter to look after, and she needed to remain strong in such a situation. The first thing that led her towards her goal was a divorce case filed against her husband, who had put her into all this. However, all these positive vibes and attitudes could not fill in the loneliness that she felt. The loneliness in Rebecca's heart made her search for new people to interact with, but she had no clue how to do that. However, a bold move with her high school friend gave her the reference of Stephen, a single friend of her friends. This was indeed not planned by Rebecca, and little did she know that this joke and breaking the ice with this stranger will change her life forever. Who knew what started as a joke will lead to a fairy tale and fill Rebecca's life again with happiness? It was only natural for Rebecca to be cautious and hesitant to contact a stranger after such heartbreak. Moreover, dating after such a devastating event was not something she had thought of. So, she decided to know about Stephen through social media, and it is where a lot changed and made her contact him. As she was researching over him, she found that he had a daughter, and that girl was someone who was acquainted with her mother. Say it fate or something else, what led was like a romantic story. This was the point where things were going to get better, and Rebecca will get her share of genuine happiness. It could be said that it is the fate that made these two strangers together. However, they were not as strangers as it seemed. Stephen's ex-sister-in-law is the hairdresser of Rebecca's mother, and it is at the salon where she saw the pictures of the little girl. Rebecca was still hesitant about dating him, but Rebecca's mother insisted on contacting him to get some company. What later turned into a dream tale started normally. Rebecca connected to Stephen through social media, and they began to talk with each other frequently. This gave them the confidence to meet in person, which is the best thing they did for themselves. It was like a match made in heaven when Rebecca and Stephen met each other. They felt that spark between themselves on their first date, but their past experiences were holding them a little, and they were extra cautious. But they couldn't lose the thoughts of each other. The self-loathing and self-doubt were holding Rebecca back. She was not sure that if Stephen would love a woman like her, who was abandoned by a man who lied to her for about a decade and later left her with her little daughter with nothing. Dating after such a traumatic experience was hard for both. Rebecca faced some issues and questioned her choices while she started to date Stephen. But this was natural. She lost everything when last time she felt similarly for some man. However, this relationship was different as it was not based on lies, it was based on solid truths, feelings, and mutual love for each other. Stephen made it clear to Rebecca that he was the man who she might just need in her life. He would always be there for her in thick and thins, in ups and downs, and will never lie or abandon her like her ex. He was making efforts to win over the woman and made sure that he had nothing to hide from her. He even went to the extent of showing his financial details to Rebecca. Apart from this, he gave her a copy of the keys to his place, allowing her to come to his home whenever she felt. These actions were better than any words. These actions showed how Stephen was into Rebecca, and he was not all say and no work like her previous husband. Rebecca now had someone she could call her own and go back to at any time. When you think of life, everything happens for some reason, and what if it happens for good? Well, it went well for Rebecca and Stephen. She suffered the worst of the heartbreak, went bankrupt, left the town of her dreams, and was having no financial independence. But as she reached Tennessee, she never thought she would fall in love again. Fate had other plans and changed the lives of both of these single parents. She found the love of her life in Stephen in the worst of times and become one with the pious bond of marriage. Yes, they got married. Cool, isn't it? Stephen proposed Rebecca, and this time she knew that the man who had taken her heart is genuine, and there are no lies. She was aware of how he could go to any length to help her feel great. Therefore, she had no other option but to accept the proposal. Rebecca found love in the most unexpected phase and place of life. With each passing day, Stephen's and Rebecca's love grew stronger, and they never looked back since. They grew better in their life and stayed together, living a happy life after. It is well said that what fate stores for us is never known, and sometimes it is for the best. The way these two met is magical, and this led to a happy life. Later they were also blessed with a child, which made their bond even more vital. Love found its way back into her life, and she is happy to get a man in her life who is genuine and feels in the interest of her wife. It wouldn't be wrong to say that this match was made in heaven and God prepared both these souls to understand and love each other for the rest of eternity. Rebecca got a loving husband, whom she could trust and depend upon, while Stephen found a doting and loving mother in Rebecca, who is always looking to deliver the best for her family. https://www.finally-news.com/this-nurse-was-heartbroken-after-losing-everything-she-cared-for-23